Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you first how to draw and then how to paint this beat up old silver vase. To be honest, it looks more beat up than I'd intended, but you'll get lots of tips on how to do it anyway, and it does look like a silver vase in my opinion. The first thing you'll need is a sheet of tracing paper which you'll fold in half. Next, draw half the vase on one side, turn it over and trace over the vase lines on the other side, and then when you open it out you'll have a complete and exact vase. It'll be the same shape on both sides. I find that quite important when I'm looking at paintings of vases. I don't like to see it crooked because it's a man-made item and you like to think it will be symmetrical. As I always do, I put in my mid-tone first. I'm using acrylic paint, titanium white, raw umber and French ultramarine blue, and I'm going to mix them to make a mid-tone grey. Of course I forgot to turn my camera on, didn't I? But it's basically a combination of all three. Mixing more titanium white in there to get it a reasonable lightish grey, not too light. I will be putting in highlights and shadow later on. It's better if your brush is quite wet at this stage. I should tell you I'm painting on 140-pound mixed media paper. I find it makes storage so much easier. I'm using a 3/4 inch flat brush. I usually paint with, or often paint with flat brushes. I find it more comfortable. And I've mixed a very dark grey. It's not quite black. And those darks show up the highlights, and when you look at silver you'll see a number of different shades. I always think the more shades of white, grey and black that you can get in, or dark grey that you can get in, the more silvery your vase looks. I think the problem I have with this vase is I used a dry brush at the end to blend and it didn't quite blend enough. Using your brush to add a curved line accentuates the curve of the vase, and the brush stroke itself helps the vase look round. I hope I've explained that right. I've added primary yellow to my palette to mix with the blue to make a green for a leaf. I didn't start off with any flowers in my vase. Whatever you have in the vase, if it's overhanging, it will reflect in the vase. So you need those colours in there too to make it look reflective. So I'm going to paint a leaf and a flower and show you how I do that. The reflection won't be as strong, it's just a hint of colour that you show. I think with some colours like pinks maybe it would be a little stronger, but I'm using blue and green, and it'll just be a hint of colour that reflects in the silver vase. I haven't got a tabletop painted in. I'm just doing the bare essentials in this painting. But in order to make the vase look as though it's sitting on something, I've painted a dark line underneath it using the same colours, the raw umber and the French ultramarine blue. And if I didn't do that, it would look like it was floating in midair, which is quite disturbing actually. painting a metal vase, silver, copper, whatever, I blend quite a bit. I use a soft brush. I often buy powder brushes from Dollar Tree. They work really well. And I blend the different shades together quite well. It gives that smooth, shiny surface. The whites tend to dull down a shade or so as they dry, and so I reinforce those from time to time, and eventually I get them to a nice level of brightness, but it does take a little work. As you can see, the light is coming from the right, but there is a reflected light on the left hand side, and I usually do that with a little blue added to the titanium, and I'm using a very fluffy brush here to try blending a little more. It's quite a dry brush. I use a crisscross movement of my brush, and this vase is old and dented and a bit beat up, I think. It's turning out that way for me anyway. If you go outside the lines, you can use a damp brush and just wipe off those excess little dabs. You can do that soon after or while you're painting. If you let it set for a couple of days, you can't do that. effortlessly. Well, I am sharing my painting experience. I'm not a professional teacher. And here's where I made my mistake. I used a brush that was just too dry. And I think I left sort of a scratch mark on there, which I don't really like, and I wouldn't do again. But hey, you learn something every time you paint a picture. Fingers are very good for smoothing out areas if you don't want a brush stroke in there. And you can't be an artist without getting a little paint on yourself. Another little trick when painting metal or glass, come to that, is to put a reflection of a window in there. I use a 1/2-inch brush and I make 4 little dabs of paint as though they were window panes. And I usually add a couple of other little spots of extra bright white. And at this stage I'm more or less done. I usually sit back and watch it for a little while. I like to sit with a painting and decide whether I've done everything I could do, whether I need to make changes, and I usually make a cup of tea and sit with the painting for 10 minutes or so before I declare it finished. And I think this one is done. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate that. Please like and share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. That helps my channel grow, and I'd really appreciate that too. And I'll see you next time. Bye.